Back in December, we told you about a Filipino-Canadian who's lending his voice to an iconic rabbit. 41-year-old Eric Bauza is breathing life into Bugs Bunny. The cartoon character will star in Space Jam: A New Legacy, the 2021 sequel to the 1996 film. Tonight we go above and beyond the headlines with Eric himself. He joins us live from Los Angeles in the U.S. state of California. Hi, Eric. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Mabuhay, Doc.
How are you?
I wasn't expecting that, but and that's why
Not a lot
you
of
are
people
the new
do.
voice of Bugs Bunny.
I am.
How did you get there? How did you get to that point that you're voicing Bugs Bunny now? And who was it before? What did you have to do to prepare for this?
Well, the very first person to voice Bugs Bunny was, of course, the great Mel Blanc. He was the original voice actor way back in the 1940s. This past year, 2020, marks Bugs Bunny's 80th birthday. So you can imagine the character is as old as some of our relatives now. You know, so Bugs Bunny's been around for a very, very long time. And after Mel Blanc, there have definitely been some suitable successors, people like Jeff Bergman, Billy West, the late Joe Lasky, and a bunch of others. I'm the seventh person to voice Bugs Bunny. And again, it's just being a big fan of Looney Tunes has prepared me my entire life to now become a character as iconic as Bugs Bunny.
It's always a challenge, isn't it, Eric, to voice a character, a cartoon character that's been around for like you said, 80 years. So, what is it like to prepare for Bugs Bunny? What do you do so that you sound just like the original Bugs Bunny? Because, you know, even if people know that he's been around for so long, you know, parang sometimes we think na it's still the same person voicing Bugs Bunny.
Well, it's all about the personality. You have to become the character, Doc. That's all.
You know, it's more than just an imitation of a voice. You really have to know who he is. You know, Mel Blanc poured his heart and soul into this character. So again, even if it's a silly cartoon rabbit, the performance really has to come down to good acting and the rabbit being grounded in some kind of reality. And again, Mel Blanc's performance of this character was so iconic that we're still talking about it to this day. So again, it's all about like good acting and just being able to take on this persona. We're performing lines of dialogue that have never been said by anyone before. So anyone can say, "What's up, Doc?" But beyond that, you have to be able to become this character.
Mm-hmm. Eric, you said earlier that you are the seventh person to voice Bugs Bunny, but you are the first of Filipino descent, correct?
That is correct.
And you never went to school for this, to prepare for voice acting. You didn't go to school, but you know, people think that, like you said, no, like most people say, you know, you prepare for this your whole life.
Right. I think that, you know, most of my colleagues have gone to school for theatrical performing. Some of the people that I work with are also musicians or stand-up comedians. But when it comes down to it, you have to be a good storyteller. You have to be able to start a story, keep the audience interested, and at the end of 7 minutes, be able to say,
that's all, folks.
You know, you keep doing Bugs Bunny's voice, but you've done voices of other characters, and there's a long list here. You might want to go through them. And but you also did Fozzie Bear of for the Muppet Babies.
that's right. Ah, Waka Waka! And for Universal Studios, I also voiced Woody Woodpecker. And I'm also the voice of Lego Luke Skywalker. May the Force be with you.
Uh-huh. And Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry. What else?
I mean, the list goes on. But the first voices that I ever did was impersonating my parents. You know, they were the first characters in my
Uh-huh.
life.
Really? They're Filipino accents, right? And what, like, what
Absolutely.
would you say? What would they usually say that you would impersonate?
Well, you know, back when I was about 9 or 10, as you know, almost every Pinoy household in Canada, we have a karaoke machine. So we used to record messages to our relatives back home in the Philippines and via Balikbayan box. So I would often just run down the list of
Mm-hmm.
foods that my mom would cook, like sinigang and pancit palabok. And my parents would laugh because I would get the accent right.
Uh-huh. Okay. And tell us more about your childhood and what is it in your childhood that helped you prepare for, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to say that the biggest role of your life.
You know, I would say it is because Bugs Bunny is my favorite character of all time. Like most children growing up
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s or 90s, you see, I watched it every Saturday morning. Nowadays, kids get to watch cartoons anytime they want on their phones, you know, all the streaming services. But as a kid in the 80s or the 90s, you really had to wait for Saturday morning. And I used to tape on VHS all of those cartoons, and I used to watch them over and over again. And you know, Looney Tunes was at the top of my list.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other character that you'd still like to do after or while you're still doing Bugs Bunny?
A character that I've yet to voice would be Batman. That would be a very cool character to voice.
Sorry, what character again? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, Batman, a comic book character, Batman. He would be my ultimate superhero to voice.
Oh wow. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, Eric. I hope you can hear me. Can you do a little sample of Batman, and then we're gonna wrap up the interview.
Well, I would, but you know, I don't sound 6 feet tall. I sound like a guy that's trying to sound 6 feet tall in a bat suit. That would be the closest thing I got to Batman right now.
I'm still in Bugs Bunny world, Doc.
I'm perfectly happy. If I don't ever voice Batman, I will be so happy eating carrots for the rest of my life if I have to.
Eric, Bugs Bunny, and well, hopefully Batman in the future. Bauza, thank you very much for being with us tonight. And that is